Welcome, dear viewers, to the first episode of our spine-chilling journey into the shadowy corners of California's haunted hotels. This is a land where the golden sun kisses the Pacific shores, yet beneath its serene beauty lies a darker narrative woven with tales of tragedy, mystery, and the supernatural. California, with its storied past and vibrant present, offers more than just picturesque landscapes and bustling cities. It harbors secrets in its historic buildings, particularly its hotels, that have become infamous for their spectral residents. These hotels are not merely structures of brick and mortar, they are vessels of history, each room echoing with stories of lives lived and lost. From the opulent halls of grand establishments to the quaint charm of bed and breakfasts, these places stand as silent witnesses to events that defy explanation, ghostly apparitions, unexplained noises, and chilling encounters that leave even the bravest souls questioning the reality around them. In this series, we will delve deep into the heart of these haunted abodes, uncovering the dark pasts that make them notorious. We'll explore first-hand accounts from guests who have felt the cold touch of the unknown, heard whispers in empty corridors, and seen shadows move without cause. Alongside these personal testimonies, we'll examine documented histories, piecing together the tragic events that have left an indelible mark on these locations. As we embark on this eerie expedition, prepare to confront the shadows lurking within the hallowed halls of California's most haunted hotels. Whether you're here out of morbid curiosity, a fascination with the paranormal, or simply love a good ghost story, these spectral sanctuaries hold an undeniable allure. They remind us that sometimes, the most terrifying experiences lie just beyond the veil of our reality, waiting to be discovered. So, gather close, dim the lights, and let's step into the world of the unknown, where every creaking floorboard and flickering light might just be a sign that you're not alone. The Queen Mary, a floating nightmare among California's haunted hotels, none is as iconic, or as chilling, as the RMS Queen Mary. Docked permanently in Long Beach since 1967, this once majestic ocean liner has transformed from a symbol of luxury travel to a vessel steeped in tragedy and the supernatural. Built in 1936, the ship served both as a glamorous cruise liner and a troop transport during World War II, ferrying thousands of soldiers across perilous waters. However, it was during these wartime voyages that the first seeds of horror were sown. One of the most infamous incidents occurred in 1942, when the Queen Mary accidentally rammed and sank her escort ship, the HMS Curacao, off the coast of Ireland. Over 300 lives were lost in the disaster, many of whom were trapped inside the smaller vessel as it broke apart. Survivors claimed to hear screams coming from beneath the waves, a haunting sound that has reportedly echoed aboard the Queen Mary ever since. Today, visitors staying overnight in the ship-turned hotel often recount hearing faint cries and splashing noises near the lower decks, particularly around areas associated with the collision. But the tragedies don't end there. During its service years, the Queen Mary became the site of numerous deaths under mysterious circumstances. One such tale involves the spirit of a young girl named Jackie, who allegedly drowned in one of the ship's pools. Guests frequently report seeing a childlike figure playing near the now-closed first-class pool, giggling softly before vanishing into thin air. Others describe feeling an inexplicable coldness or seeing wet footprints appear spontaneously on the tiled floor. A crew member crushed to death in the ship's engine room in 1966. According to legend, Petter's restless spirit continues to wander the narrow corridors of Boiler Room No. 1, his final resting place. Paranormal investigators have captured chilling EVP, electronic voice phenomenon, recordings in which disembodied voices whisper warnings like, "Get out," or "Leave me alone." Staff members tasked with maintaining the area speak of tools moving inexplicably, lights flickering without cause, and the sensation of being watched by unseen eyes. Overnight stays on the Queen Mary offer brave souls the chance to experience these phenomena firsthand. Many guests recount waking up to the feeling of someone touching their arm, or hearing heavy footsteps pacing outside their door. Some even claim to see shadowy figures standing at the foot of their beds, only to vanish when approached. These encounters are so frequent that the hotel offers guided ghost tours, allowing curious visitors to explore the darker side of its storied past. Yet, despite, or perhaps because of, Its reputation as a hotspot for paranormal activity, the Queen Mary remains a magnet for thrill-seekers and history buffs alike. Its blend of elegance and eeriness makes it one of California's most sought-after destinations for those willing to test their courage against the unknown. As we continue our exploration of haunted hotels, few places rival the sheer magnitude of spectral energy contained within the steel hull of this floating nightmare. The Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel. Glamour meets ghosts in the heart of Los Angeles, where dreams are forged and shattered beneath the glittering marquees of Hollywood Boulevard, stands the historic Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel. Since opening its doors in 1927, this Art Deco gem has played host to some of the entertainment industry's brightest stars and darkest secrets. Marilyn Monroe, Clark Gable, Charlie Chaplin, and countless other luminaries once graced its halls, leaving behind not only memories of glamour but also whispers of something far more sinister. One of the hotel's most enduring legends revolves around room 928, said to be haunted by the ghost of a jilted lover who took her own life within its confines. Guests staying in this room frequently report strange occurrences: lights turning on and off by themselves, radios tuning to static-filled stations, and the overwhelming scent of perfume lingering in the air. Some claim to wake up in the middle of the night to find the bedside mirror fogged, as though someone had just leaned close to exhale upon it. Others describe hearing soft sobbing emanating from the bathroom, only to discover it empty upon investigation. Another spectral resident of the Roosevelt is believed to be none other than Marilyn Monroe herself. The screen icon famously lived in the hotel during the early days of her career, and her presence is said to linger in the suite she once called home. Housekeeping staff have reported seeing a blonde woman dressed in vintage clothing gazing wistfully out of the windows, disappearing when approached. Guests lucky enough to stay in the same suite often wake up to find items rearranged or their belongings inexplicably moved, as if the starlet were tidying up after them. But the hauntings extend beyond individual rooms. The hotel's famed Cinegrill nightclub, now converted into a private event space, is rumored to be a hotspot for paranormal activity. Patrons seated at Table 9, located directly beneath the stage, have complained of sudden drops in temperature and the sensation of icy fingers brushing against their necks. Performers who take the stage above swear they can feel unseen eyes watching them, while staff members recount stories of glasses shattering without explanation and chairs scraping across the floor when no one is nearby. Even the hotel's elevators are not immune to the supernatural. Employees and guests alike have reported instances of the lifts stopping unexpectedly on random floors, opening to reveal empty hallways bathed in an eerie silence. On occasion, disembodied laughter echoes through the carriages, accompanied by the faint strains of jazz music, a nod to the hotel's heyday when live bands entertained patrons late into the night. Despite its haunted reputation, the Hollywood Roosevelt remains a beloved landmark, attracting tourists eager to glimpse a piece of Tinseltown history. For those brave enough to spend the night, the promise of encountering a Hollywood legend, or something less benign, is part of the allure. Whether you're drawn by the glamour of old Hollywood or the thrill of the unknown, the Roosevelt offers an unforgettable experience where the line between past and present blurs, and the spirits of those who came before refuse to fade quietly into oblivion. The Julia Morgan House. Whispers of tragedy tucked away in the serene coastal town of San Luis Obispo lies the Julia Morgan House, a quaint yet foreboding bed and breakfast that has earned its place among California's most haunted hotels. Designed by renowned architect Julia Morgan, best known for her work on Hearst Castle, the house exudes an understated elegance that belies the tragedy etched into its foundation. Built in the early 20th century, the property was originally intended as a retreat for artists and intellectuals. However, its peaceful beginnings were soon overshadowed by a series of harrowing events that would forever taint its legacy. The central figure in the house's haunting narrative is Catherine Devereux, a reclusive poet who resided there during the 1930s. Devereux, plagued by mental illness and a crumbling marriage, sought solace in the solitude of the seaside estate. Her descent into madness culminated in a horrific act of violence when she allegedly murdered her estranged husband during a heated confrontation in the master bedroom. Witnesses claimed to hear screams piercing the night air, followed by an ominous silence. By morning, Devereux had vanished without a trace, leaving behind only bloodstains on the hardwood floors and cryptic verses scrawled on the walls. Since then, guests at the Julia Morgan house have reported unnerving encounters linked to Catherine's tormented spirit. Many describe hearing faint scratching sounds emanating from the walls, as though someone, or something, is clawing desperately to escape. Others recount waking up to find their bedsheets tangled impossibly tight around their limbs, as if restrained by invisible hands. The most disturbing accounts come from visitors staying in the master bedroom, where Catherine's crime unfolded. Shadows flit across the corners of vision, and the acrid smell of iron fills the air, evoking the grisly scene that transpired decades ago. Adding to the house's eerie atmosphere is the recurring appearance of a spectral figure believed to be Catherine herself. Dressed in a flowing white gown, she is often seen wandering the grounds at dusk, her hollow eyes fixed on some unseen point in the distance. Some guests claim to feel an icy draft pass through them as she drifts by, while others report hearing mournful whispers pleading for forgiveness. In one particularly chilling incident, a couple staying in the house swore they saw Catherine standing at the foot of their bed, her translucent form illuminated by moonlight. When they attempted to speak to her, she vanished into thin air, leaving behind an oppressive sense of dread. Paranormal investigators who have explored the Julia Morgan house describe it as a veritable hotbed of supernatural activity. EMF detectors routinely spike in certain areas, particularly near the master bedroom and the garden where Catherine's body was eventually found. EVP recordings captured during overnight sessions reveal faint voices muttering indistinct phrases, interspersed with anguished cries. One investigator even captured what appears to be a shadowy silhouette moving through the hallway on camera, an image that has since become a staple of online paranormal forums. Despite its unsettling reputation, the Julia Morgan house continues to attract curious travelers eager to experience its macabre charm. Owners make no secret of its haunted history, instead embracing it as part of the property's unique appeal. For those bold enough to book a stay, the promise of encountering Catherine's restless spirit, or perhaps unraveling the mysteries surrounding her disappearance, proves irresistible. Yet, as each new guest steps across the threshold, they must ask themselves, are they prepared to face the darkness that lingers within these walls, or will they become another chapter in the house's tragic tale? The Del Monte Hotel, echoes of the gold rush nestled in the historic mining town of Monterey. The Del Monte Hotel stands as a relic of California's frenzied gold rush era. Constructed in 1850, the hotel quickly became a hub for prospectors, merchants, and adventurers chasing fortune in the Sierra Nevada foothills. Its weathered brick facade and creaking wooden floors bear witness to a bygone age of ambition and desperation, where dreams were forged and shattered with equal ferocity. But beneath its charming exterior lies a darker history, one steeped in greed, betrayal, and untimely death. One of the most notorious incidents tied to the Del Monte Hotel occurred in 1853, when a violent dispute erupted between two rival miners over a lucrative claim. The argument spilled into the hotel's saloon, where tempers flared and fists flew. What began as a heated exchange escalated into a deadly shootout, leaving 3 men dead and several others wounded. Bloodstains soaked into the floorboards, and the room was hastily closed off afterward, deemed too cursed to reopen. To this day, guests staying in rooms adjacent to the former saloon report hearing muffled gunshots and guttural shouting, as though the brawl continues to play out in an endless loop. Adding to the hotel's haunted reputation is the legend of Emily Caldwell, a young woman who worked as a maid during the late 1800s. Described as beautiful but tragically naive, Emily fell victim to the advances of a wealthy guest who promised her riches and romance. When she discovered his intentions were less than honorable, she confronted him in room 17, only to meet a gruesome fate. Accounts vary, but all agree that Emily's death was brutal and unjust. Her spirit is said to linger in the room, manifesting as a faint outline of a woman clad in Victorian attire. Guests often complain of feeling an oppressive weight pressing down on them, accompanied by the sound of quiet sobbing that seems to emanate from the walls themselves. The Del Monte's basement, once used as storage for gold shipments, is another focal point of paranormal activity. Stories abound of workers who vanished mysteriously while retrieving crates, their bodies never found. Modern-day employees tasked with cleaning the area describe hearing chains rattling and heavy footsteps echoing through the cavernous space, though no one else is present. Some claim to see shadowy figures dragging invisible loads, their movements jerky and unnatural. A particularly chilling account comes from a maintenance worker who swore he felt cold metal cuffs snap around his wrists, pulling him backward toward the darkness before releasing him abruptly. Overnight visitors to the Del Monte frequently recount bizarre experiences that defy logical explanation. Lights flicker unpredictably, especially in hallways leading to the older sections of the building. Doors slam shut on their own, and the scent of cigar smoke wafts through the air despite the hotel's strict no-smoking policy. One guest described waking up to find his reflection in the mirror staring back at him, but not quite matching his movements, as if another entity stood behind him, mimicking his actions. Another recounted seeing a man in a dusty miner's outfit standing at the foot of her bed, his hollow eyes boring into hers before vanishing without a sound. Paranormal investigators have conducted numerous expeditions within the hotel's walls, capturing compelling evidence of its supernatural inhabitants. Thermal imaging cameras reveal cold spots concentrated in specific areas, including the former saloon and room 17. Audio recordings capture faint whispers, some pleading for help, others issuing threats in garbled tones. Perhaps the most unsettling discovery came during the live investigation broadcast online. Viewers watching the feed spotted a translucent figure darting across the screen in real time, prompting widespread speculation about the nature of the entities haunting the Del Monte. Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted allure, the Del Monte Hotel remains a popular destination for history enthusiasts and thrill-seekers alike. Its rich tapestry of human drama, interwoven with tragedy and loss, creates an atmosphere unlike any other. For those brave enough to spend the night, the opportunity to confront the ghosts of California's tumultuous past offers both terror and fascination. Yet, as each new visitor crosses its threshold, they must decide whether they are ready to face the echoes of the gold rush and the restless spirits it left behind. The Stanley Hotel, elegance entangled with the supernatural, perched majestically atop the hills of Ojai, California. The Stanley Hotel exudes an air of refined elegance that belies its turbulent history. Established in 1907, this grand establishment was originally envisioned as a sanctuary for the elite, offering breathtaking views of the Topatopa Mountains and luxurious accommodations fit for royalty. With its sweeping verandas, crystal chandeliers, and meticulously manicured gardens, the Stanley quickly became a beacon of sophistication and exclusivity. However, beneath its polished veneer lay a darker narrative, one marked by scandal, heartbreak, and unexplained phenomena that would cement its status as one of California's most haunted hotels. The origins of the Stanley's spectral infamy can be traced back to its founder, Charles Stanley, a wealthy industrialist whose personal life unraveled in spectacular fashion. Rumors swirled about his volatile marriage to Eleanor Stanley, a woman rumored to have been driven to madness by her husband's infidelities. Their tempestuous relationship reached a breaking point in 1915, when Eleanor was found dead under suspicious circumstances in room 312. While officially ruled a suicide, whispers of foul play persisted, fueled by reports of Charles's erratic behavior in the weeks leading up to her death. Following the tragedy, Charles withdrew from society, rarely seen outside the confines of the hotel he had built. It wasn't long before strange occurrences began to plague the Stanley. Guests staying in room 312 reported hearing faint piano music drifting through the walls, despite the absence of any instrument in the vicinity. Others claimed to see a pale figure resembling Eleanor gliding silently through the corridors, her expression one of sorrowful longing. The most chilling accounts came from housekeeping staff, who swore they witnessed the bed in room 312 neatly made itself after being stripped bare, as though Eleanor were still tending to her duties as hostess. Another prominent figure in the hotel's haunted lore is Thomas Greaves, a disgraced financier who checked into the Stanley in 1923 during a desperate attempt to evade creditors. Consumed by guilt and paranoia, Greaves barricaded himself in room 407, refusing to leave or accept visitors. Days later, his body was discovered slumped over a desk littered with torn documents and empty liquor bottles. Since then, Guests occupying room 407 have reported feeling an overwhelming sense of dread, accompanied by the stench of stale alcohol and the sound of papers rustling violently in the dead of night. Some claim to catch glimpses of a gaunt man pacing anxiously in front of the window, his face obscured by shadows. The Stanley's Ballroom, once the site of lavish galas and high society gatherings, has also become a focal point of paranormal activity. Visitors attending events in the space often describe feeling an inexplicable chill, even amidst the warmth of celebration. Musicians performing on stage have reported hearing discordant notes played on phantom instruments, disrupting their melodies mid-performance. On more than one occasion, attendees have sworn they saw couples dancing gracefully across the floor, only to realize there was no music playing and no visible source of illumination casting their silhouettes. Modern-day investigations into the Stanley's supernatural claims have yielded intriguing results. Thermal cameras have detected significant temperature drops in key locations, including room 312 and the ballroom. Electromagnetic field (EMF) meters register unusual spikes, particularly near antique furniture pieces believed to have belonged to the original owners. Perhaps the most compelling evidence comes from audio recordings, which capture disembodied voices uttering fragmented sentences like, "I'm sorry," and "let me go." Despite its haunted reputation, or perhaps because of it, the Stanley Hotel continues to draw visitors eager to immerse themselves in its storied past. For those brave enough to book a stay, the possibility of encountering Eleanor, Thomas, or one of the countless other spirits said to roam its halls adds an element of excitement and trepidation. Whether you're drawn by the allure of its architectural splendor or the thrill of peeling back the layers of its enigmatic history, the Stanley promises an unforgettable experience where the line between the living and the dead blurs, and the echoes of yesterday linger just beyond reach. Patterns across California's haunted hotels. As we delve deeper into the haunted histories of California's most infamous hotels, striking similarities emerge, weaving a thread of eerie consistency through their disparate tales. These patterns are not merely coincidental, rather, they underscore universal themes of human emotion, unresolved trauma, and the enduring power of memory. From the Queen Mary's watery tragedies to the Hollywood Roosevelt's star-studded hauntings, these establishments share a commonality that transcends location and era, binding them together in a spectral sisterhood of sorrow and suspense. One recurring motif is the concept of unfinished business. Whether it's the victims of the Queen Mary's wartime disaster or the betrayed lovers haunting the Julia Morgan house, these spirits seem tethered to the earthly realm by grievances left unaddressed. Their presence manifests as restless energy, often communicated through auditory phenomena, cries, whispers, or disembodied voices, that serve as pleas for acknowledgement or closure. This theme resonates across cultures and belief systems, reflecting humanity's innate need to resolve conflict and seek peace, even in death. Another shared characteristic is the role of architecture in amplifying paranormal activity. Historic hotels like the Del Monte and the Stanley, with their labyrinthine corridors, thick walls, and hidden alcoves, create environments conducive to isolating individuals and heightening fear. These structural elements act as metaphors for the psychological barriers erected by those who suffered within their confines, trapping emotions such as anger, despair, and regret. It's no coincidence that many reported hauntings occur in spaces imbued with emotional significance: bedrooms where relationships ended, saloons where violence erupted, or basements where secrets were buried. Lighting and sensory manipulation also feature prominently in these narratives. Flickering lights, sudden temperature drops, and inexplicable odors are staples of ghostly encounters, designed to disorient and unsettle. Such phenomena strip away the comfort of familiarity, forcing guests to confront the unknown. The use of mirrors, a recurring element in stories from the Hollywood Roosevelt and the Stanley, adds another layer of psychological tension, as reflections distort perception and blur the boundary between self and other. This interplay of light and shadow becomes a tool wielded by unseen forces, creating moments of visceral terror that linger long after the initial shock subsides. Finally, the prevalence of historical context cannot be overstated. Each hotel's haunting is deeply rooted in its unique past, shaped by the socio-cultural milieu of its time. The gold rush brutality embedded in the Del Monte's DNA contrasts sharply with the glamorous yet tragic lives immortalized at the Hollywood Roosevelt. Yet both narratives tap into broader archetypes of ambition, betrayal, and mortality, ensuring their resonance with audiences regardless of personal experience. By drawing on these universal motifs, these haunted hotels transform from mere buildings into living repositories of collective memory, inviting us to peer into the abyss of our shared humanity. Thus, while each establishment boasts its own distinct flavor of fright, the underlying threads connecting them reveal a tapestry rich with meaning. These patterns remind us that the supernatural is not so much about the entities themselves but the stories they tell, the echoes of lives interrupted, passions extinguished, and truths obscured. As we continue to explore these haunted locales, we find ourselves grappling not only with the specters of the past but with the timeless questions they raise about life, death, and everything in between. Dear reader, as we bring this journey through California's most haunted hotels to a close, I hope you've felt the same spine-tingling allure that has drawn countless souls to these spectral sanctuaries. These stories are more than just campfire tales or urban legends. They are fragments of history, stitched together by human emotion, tragedy, and the unrelenting passage of time. Each creaking floorboard, each whispered name, and each fleeting shadow serves as a reminder that the past is never truly gone. It lingers, waiting for someone brave enough to listen. But why stop here? If these accounts have stirred something within you, a spark of curiosity, a shiver of excitement, I urge you to take the next step. Visit one of these haunted hotels yourself. Walk the same halls where spirits are said to roam, sleep in the rooms where history's echoes reverberate, and let the unknown brush against your senses. Whether you're a skeptic seeking proof or a believer eager to commune with the other side, these establishments offer an unparalleled opportunity to confront the mysteries that lie just beyond the veil. And when you return, share your story. Did you feel the icy touch of a ghostly hand? Hear the faint strains of music in an empty corridor? Or perhaps nothing happened at all, but isn't that silence just as intriguing? Your experiences add to the rich tapestry of lore surrounding these haunted hotels, ensuring their legacies endure for generations to come. Until then, keep your lanterns lit and your courage steady. The spirits are waiting.